After 2 decades of civil war, peace has been at last restored in Sri Lanka. Recent elections have also helped stabilize the political situation in the country. One private equity manager interested in Sri Lanka is Douglas Clayton, CEO of Leopard Capital. He joins us now in New York. Now, you recently finished raising money in a private equity fund for Cambodia. Now you're looking to Sri Lanka. Tell me a little bit about the interest you're receiving, how much money you hope to raise, and what sort of investments you're looking at.
We're looking to do a $100 million private equity fund in Sri Lanka, and we're finding a lot of curiosity because the country's been off the investment map for over 26 years due to its war, but people recognize that it's in a very viable area next to India, and it will have a very promising future now.
I guess we should raise the issue right away. How much concern is there of political risk or a resumption of war in Sri Lanka?
I think resumption of war is the least likely outcome going forward because after 26 years of war, both sides were very fatigued and want to try a different outcome. So a bit like Ireland, that finally the war just burns itself out and a new solution emerges.
All right, so you're in there, you're seeing some interest from investors, specifically the kinds of investments. What is the state of the country in terms of its infrastructure and other developments?
Sri Lanka's a middle-income country, so it has a lot of old businesses that are quite successful and now are able to move into areas that were cut off from the economy before by war. So an investment theme is to help existing businesses go into new areas. Secondly, there's new industries that are possible. For example, fisheries, because of Sri Lanka had a huge naval blockade for many years, and the fishing industry is underdeveloped, and now it can be properly developed.
Well, I would think that would be a huge opportunity given its location.
Yes, they say that it's the only country where the fish die of old age.
That's classic. Now, a question for you in terms of these businesses expanding, the opportunity there. So you're providing them capital. Do they have the know-how to do that? It's just a matter of needing the capital.
Sri Lanka has a highly literate and well-educated population and has a huge diaspora of skilled technical people and professionals abroad. And those people will start coming back. So it does have the resources. It just needs a bit of financial capital now.
Now, you mentioned in a recent presentation that one way you plan to exit the investments is through a stock market listing. What is the liquidity like in terms of the equity market?
The market is small. It's only a $10 billion stock exchange, but it was one of the best performers in the world last year and also this year. So it's growing rapidly, and I think it'll reach a normal size over the next few years.
What's normal?
Well, it should be about 100% of GDP. Now it's 25% of GDP.
Okay. How do you approach your due diligence on the investments?
Because it has Sri Lanka has a good legal profession and auditing, it's a nation of accountants, they say, and so there's plenty of people that can help you go in and do the due diligence.
You've projected rates of returns of 25 to 35%. How do you arrive at that?
By getting in early ahead of the crowd. If we wait a few years until Sri Lanka becomes more popular, the entry valuations will be much higher. But going in as one of the first funds will allow us to negotiate very good entry prices.
All right, it all sounds very positive. So I know there's got to be a catch-22 or some sort of risk factor. What's the cautionary side of investing in Sri Lanka?
I think having a strong local presence is vital in all frontier markets, and we plan to have we're building a team there. Secondly, it comes down to execution risk because in a small economy you have to invest in many different sectors. So you have to be good at a lot of different things. Your team has to be able to execute well.
Several well-known investors are on your board, Jim Rogers, Mark Faber. How active are they in making investment decisions?
They're both good fans of Sri Lanka. Jim in particular has traveled there quite a bit. So they help promote the country around the world, and they're helping guide us as well.
Douglas Clayton, thanks so much for your time. Douglas is with Leopard Capital. I'm Rhonda Schaffler. This is Reuters.